Hey everybody, I am Kara. I am the person behind this channel or this podcast or this newsletter, depending on how it is that you are receiving this information today. We have got a lot to talk about today, so let's dive in. This is my second attempt at my second podcast. My first podcast was Our College, Your Voices. I left the college that I was working at in 2022, where a small team and I recorded 150 plus episodes of that podcast. I'm incredibly proud of that project, and I loved working on it. I knew when I started my own consulting firm in February of 22 that I wanted to do a podcast, but I just wasn't sure what it was all about. Fast forward to November, when I got sucked in pretty fast to doing something called NaPodPoMo, National Podcast Posting Month. The goal is to post 30 podcast episodes in the month of November. I started out great. I think I got to 16 episodes and even had to record some a little bit ahead of time because of some travel. And then life happened and I fell off the wagon. So I took a little break and I thought about what I really wanted this to look like if it was going to be a sustainable habit for me. And I decided that should be a weekly podcast. And I really want to get a lot better at making videos and incorporating content into all of my different channels this year. And so I am going to release this as both a video as well as an audio podcast, and it'll be released through my newsletter, hence why you can get it in a lot of different ways. You can find it under the I Want to Be Me When I Grow Up label pretty much anywhere on YouTube or your favorite podcasting app. So great, Kara, you have decided to do a podcast. What's it going to be about? Well, there are really three things. First of all, my life motto is I want to be me when I grow up. And you can go back and listen to the origin story of that motto in the original episode from the revision of the podcast. And if you got this on Substack, you can just scroll down and you'll see that in the list of Substack episodes. If you're here on YouTube, I'll put a link in the description so that you can find that episode as well. And if you're viewing this, let's see, in your favorite podcast app, there'll be a link in the show notes where you can find that. So taking care of all of those different methods for how you can find them. But to be better at being me, that means I need to think about what that means and share my story. And so I hope that in sharing my story, I can help you be a little bit more yourself every single day, to grow as the person that you want to be and that you want to become, and to be more authentically you every single day of your life, no matter what that means for you. Assuming that you're a kind-hearted person and you're not out committing crimes. We don't condone that here. But otherwise, you can be exactly who you want to be. I also want to share more about the things that I find interesting and that bring me a lot of joy. And some of those are going to be really nerdy for some of you, and others of them are going to be normal things like traveling and family and friends. And I am sure that if you know me well, Kona will make an appearance here sometime. Kona is my miniature double doodle who is, he's pretty much the joy of my heart. So you will hear about him as well. I love learning from other people's stories, and I think we can learn a lot from each other's stories. And so I want to share some of the things that I hear. I want to share other people's stories. So my long-term hope for the podcast is that it turns into, or at least is quite often, an interview podcast, because talking into a camera like this is, well, it's not all that much fun for me. I would rather be talking to someone about things that they find interesting and just sharing with them. I think that would be fun. So if you're interested in being a guest, I will tell you how to contact me at the end of the episode. So stay tuned and you could absolutely come on and share it with me. The final thing that I want to talk about in the podcast are some tools. I love to collect tools, from a good saying to like an acronym or mnemonic for how you remember things, to actual exercises, and even from time to time, physical tools. Having the right tool for a job makes that job just that much easier. And so we will talk about some of those, and I will share some of those in every single episode. At the end of each episode, I'm going to give you a little homework if you want to do it. It's optional, of course, because it's a podcast and these aren't graded. But it's something to think about, and if you want to interact with me, there are lots of ways that you can do that. You can reach out on social media using the hashtag #IWannaBeMeWhenIGrowUp. I've got searches set up in most of the social media engines to look for that hashtag. Or you can drop me an email at kara@iwannabemewhenigrowup.com, and you can interact with me there as well. So your homework for this week's episode is to think about one skill or talent or ability that you want to be developing, that you want to be growing in, that you want to be getting better at, so that you can be more authentically you. Doesn't have to be even though a skill or an ability. It could just be something that you want to make a change in your life, or you want to do differently, or you want to get better at. Think about that this week and drop me a note. Let me know what it is. Again, I'll give you those ways that you can respond. You can respond to me using the hashtag #IWannaBeMeWhenIGrowUp, or you can drop me an email at kara@iwannabemewhenigrowup.com. And I will talk to you next week, in which I will share some of the things that I want to do to be better at being me, and hopefully I will share some of your ideas as well. Till later. Bye, everybody.